Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum, and you're watching the Theo Nightly video for the last day of March here in 2022. It's March 31st, end of the quarter. April is tomorrow, and so is the jobs report. So that's what we'll discuss in today's video. Just the main idea, the calendar on tomorrow's session has the employment situation. That is our monthly jobs report. That's April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. Nonetheless, the jobs report will be first and foremost on our mind before the market opens on Friday morning. But as we go into that session, let's look at where we are and what the targets for the moves are. So this is the S&P. We'll start always with this broad trading range. That's about the 4,800 and about 4,200. Put in that midpoint, right about that 4,450 level. Where is the market trading down from? 4,600. So we'll keep this theme in mind, and we'll drop to a shorter time frame. On the Nasdaq, we're getting that same range, but it's a much broader, much bigger points in the Nasdaq. 17,000 and 13,000 makes the midpoint about 15,000. That's your Nasdaq level. And we're about the middle of that. That's mean reversion. The Dow is a little bit different. Not quite as sharp of a sell-off that we saw in the Nasdaq, but its levels, again, focal points about 33,000 and 36,500, just a little bit shy of that easy round number, 37,000 for the Dow. Now we'll look at the Russell. The Russell has been a little weaker. That's your small cap index since the peak of the market in late 2021. And Nasdaq shares, Nasdaq technology stocks in general, can look at XLK, which is an ETF that tracks closely over here to the Qs. The Qs are going to be the Nasdaq ETF. And of course, options and tradable plays can be done within this framework. So that is what we'll look at in that structure. That's the bigger picture. We can look at individual ETFs, which would include the financials, and those, speaking of trading ranges, we'll take a look at that. Trading ranges for the XLF is roughly 4150 and 36. That's, I think, a key theme of where we are in the market. The middle of the middle of the middle. And that's where the session is taking place. Promised I would jump to a lower time frame. So let's just take a look quickly at distribution charts, bell curve charts, or what I like to look at as volume profile charts. Not too much detail, but looking for the market to rotate back down from above. These upper target levels plays from 4,620. We've already achieved the first target. That's a game plan on the intraday chart. That was 4,5 and 50 there about. We're under that level, 4,575, 4,550. And the market is sliding down to lower support targets. Nasdaq is similar. They're both coming off of the upper bound of the weekly expected move and back inside from a deeply well overbought, overextended, a little too bullish, too much upside action too quickly. We are seeing the pullbacks from that. And the Dow mini futures, same logic from above back inside. And the Russell is the one that had a deeper sell-off from that expected move earlier in the week. Deeper, and in fact, the Russell has achieved its midpoint target. Midpoint target is this point of control. It's about 2070. That is down from 2140. These lines represent those expected moves. So that is also something to watch on our futures charts and any individual stocks that you might be trading and positioned into with respect to the touch of the weekly expected move and the departure or trade down away from it. That again is in the SPX. We can see that a little bit in the Nasdaq. This is our TheoTrade auto expected move chart. And in the Dow mini futures, didn't quite make the auto expected move, but we're back in the middle. Again, middle of the middle of the middle. For the Dow and the Russell, we saw it strengthen up, hit the expected move earlier in the week, and then trade sharply down on Wednesday and then here into Thursday. What stocks are leading the S&P to the downside? At the moment, it's Walgreens Boots. Those are the ones that are weakest in today's session. Long trading range and actually under its expected move, and that was done on earnings. And that just took place. So earnings are playing WBA to the downside. Beyond that is Charter and Charter Communication downtrending. Again, its upper bound of the expected move auto-generated and all the way back in. But let's pull this perspective all the way back to the typical daily chart. Target also is leading to the downside in today's session. That's a retail name, and it's coming off of its resistance. So key stocks in play, there's Bank of America. Outside of that, we have Intel and Lowe's, not to be outdone. Lowe's and Target and all the other, Home Depot, those are on the downside in today's session. Quick check outside the calendar into the market cap page. Where is the strongest selling pressure coming from? Generally speaking, it's XLY. That's your consumer discretionary. That's up here. There, we just saw that. Home Depot, Nike, Target, a few others. Of course, Amazon, Tesla. But in the other side, we have the financials. These are the pocket or the grouping of financial stocks in the S&P 500. This, again, here in Thinkorswim is our Market Watch tab. Visualize and the heat map to the S&P. You can do any of the other indexes you would like. Our monsters of tech, the big market cap leaders, they're on the sell side as well. And those will include our technology names, but also there's the Tesla and Amazon. That's the market as it is today. Outside of that, we see crude oil is also getting a sharp sell-off. That takes us well from above this 130 and even 115 recent pivot. That's pushed us down to lows. Crude oil and oil stocks and energy sector in general, that's been on the leading edge of the bull market, or at least the bull side of the rally in 2022. But everything else has been lower. All the sectors have been down with the exception of the strength in energy, and that's on the back or pulled up by the strength in inflationary pressures. And that's going to be across the board, but also Ukraine, Russia. And oil had a huge jump, but just what is quickly goes up gets pulled right back down. And that is the volatility in oil, energy sector, and to a lesser extent, gold. Gold got that similar inflationary and uncertainty bounce and pullback. The bond market continues to be in focus as we're watching the Federal Reserve, their policies, their announcement, what GDP, gross domestic product, any other information about inflation, CPI, the data there, the consumer price index, producer price index, and of course, what they might say about any other economic barometers, inflation. The bond market is going to the downside, trending lower, but just like anything else, when something goes down, it tends to snap back up. So the bond market, despite being down, does not go straight down. It gets its own bounces or back to profile or just mean reversion logic. The bond market itself had its bullish bounce back inside the profile levels. This is TLT as the equity market is coming down. And that is the dominant thesis, or at least the probability to retread, trade lower from these levels. Any major development on the stock scan front, despite the sell-off in today's session, these stocks are outperforming the market or at least making 52-week highs. And again, sorted by market cap quickly, UNH, Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie Labs, Costco sneaks up there with another new high and a net change. So we'll pull a few of these names before we end the video and discuss how we're going to position and protect and hedge if anything necessary needs to be done with respect to our jobs report and pre-market activity in the bigger picture. Now we'll take a look at UNH, which is leading off to the upside. Daily chart here, hourly chart there. Johnson & Johnson, defensive stock. These are XLP or consumer staples or just defensive stock type names. AbbVie Labs, that is one that is persistently trending to the upside. And we'll finish with Costco, a popular retail name that is continuing to push those new highs and a stellar, we'll go to the weekly chart, long-term uptrend. Surprising as it is, uptrend nonetheless. We'll see what the jobs report and what the state of the economy is and what that suggests about how the Fed might take into account new inflationary or any particular economic data. That'll be first thing tomorrow morning. As always, be careful and safe. This is Corey Rosenblum with tonight's Theo video update for March 31st, 2022.